The Neversink Reservoir sits at the highest elevation of the three Catskill Mountain reservoirs that supply the Delaware River with water. New York City began building reservoirs in the Catskills in the 1940s.
The city was fortunate to be able to build its reservoirs in an area that was largely forested. A large portion of the land had already been acquired by the state of New York and the Catskill Park, so it was a protected watershed for the most part. And the activities in the watershed, were largely, there was some timber work that was going on, there was some agriculture at that time.
In the mid-1990s, New York City and state entered into an agreement with the federal EPA and took a watershed management approach to protecting the water supply for millions of people. The city and state began preserving land or securing conservation easements on properties in the watershed, in addition to the land immediately surrounding and buffering the reservoirs that had already been preserved. More than 176,000 acres of upper Delaware watershed is now preserved. As a result of the action, New York City is not required to use large-scale filtration plants, a unique distinction for a large-scale water supplier. The EPA requires water suppliers who use surface systems to filter their water and eliminate biological threats.
It's significant because filtration of water is highly energy intensive. And in a conventional filtration plant, many contaminants that we're now finding cannot be removed by conventional means. And an unfiltered water supply is one that does not have mechanical removal of particles, and that the real treatment of the supply goes on at the source. So having high quality water that flows through the rivers that lead into the reservoirs, so high a quality that requires very little treatment. The New York City supply that comes from the Catskills receives some chlorine treatment and receives treatment with UV light. And that's about it. And the protection, the natural processes that go on in the forests, in the watershed itself, provide that level of protection.
The watershed management approach also makes financial sense. Officials say New York City has invested more than $1.7 billion in watershed protection programs. Paul Rush says the cost of a filtration plant for a large water supply would exceed $8 billion.
We save a lot of money by protecting our drinking water supplies, filtering our drinking water through nature rather than through artificial technologies that are created by people.
That clean water also provides an economic boost from people who enjoy the Delaware River for recreational purposes. A report from the Delaware Riverkeeper Network says more than $54 million in revenue was generated by the number of fishing licenses sold in 2003 in the 4 Delaware River Basin states. That same report found that kayaking, canoeing, and boating added more than $10 million to the local economies along the Delaware River. Over the years, the effort to protect this region and this water supply has also been of financial assistance to residents.
The Catskill Watershed Cooperation uses to support businesses in the watershed. Also, a lot of the programs we have a stream bank stabilization programs where we subcontract or we contract out to county soil and water districts, and then they construct stream enhancements and protections in the watershed. And the money we put in those programs, which has been almost $60 million, they go into constructing improvements which result in construction work for local firms.
In order to protect water quality, farmers have also had to make some changes. Providing setbacks for cows from streams is one example.
Young calves who could be infected with cryptosporidiosis can shed out these cysts of cryptosporidia in there when they produce feces. And some of the basic measures sound pretty logical. If you have an area, everyone needs water, livestock need water. A typical practice in the past has been to allow the cattle to graze into the water and drink out of a stream. If you exclude the cattle from the stream, get setback distances away from the stream, That's a way to reduce the possibility of contamination in a stream.
You can see some of the attempts to help reduce the impact of farming in the nearby Delaware River watershed. At the Channery Hill Farm, Kai Brothers and Jennifer McGlashan have taken steps to reduce soil erosion in a 2-acre field where they grow vegetables and garlic.
The beds are raised up somewhere between 6 and 8 inches, and you can sort of see that they form sort of a sine wave pattern as they flow down the hill, and what this does is it slows the flow of water as water moves from the top of the hill. It comes off of our pasture land up above and flows down around this field, but some of it does come down the field itself. And this sort of bed and furrow system helps to control the water and keep it flowing a little bit more slowly so we don't get as much washout, we don't lose topsoil as readily.
The practices have helped prevent the soil from washing into a nearby stream.
As we've more fully implemented the bed system, we've been able to minimize erosion, and we really in the last 2 or 3 years have lost very little topsoil from our main growing area.
We're at the top of the hill, so this is where our contribution to the watershed begins. So I feel like there's a great responsibility to make sure that what trickles down to our neighbors isn't any worse off than when it started.
New York City's watershed management plan has also played a role in maintaining the wild and scenic designation for the upper Delaware River.
The water quality benefits we secure up in New York State through their water protection programs benefit communities all the way down the Delaware River. In the upper reaches, the high quality waters we got as a result of the New York City water protection programs supported securing wild and scenic designation and special protection waters designation for our Delaware River, which brings a whole host of ecological and economic benefits. It's one of the reasons why that healthy water quality is one of the reasons why we have national parks that are still vibrant and well visited